I've already started Vlogmas and I didn't realise. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and you'll know how this goes. I read a lot of books. Yeah, so today's book is With This Kiss by Carrie Fletcher. That's the front cover for you. Isn't it beautiful? I said it before with Carrie Fletcher books. The people who do her front covers and artwork, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Anyway, let's get that blurb up. If you knew how your love story ends, would you dare to begin? From the outside, Lorelei is an ordinary young woman with a normal life. She loves reading, she works at the local cinema, and she adores living with her best friend. But she carries a painful burden, something she's kept hidden for years. Whenever she kisses someone on the lips, she sees how they are going to die. Lorelei has never known if she's seeing what was always meant to be, or if her kiss is the thing that decides their destiny. And so she hasn't kissed anyone since she was 18. And then she meets Grayson. Sweet, clever, funny Grayson, and for the first time in years she yearns for a man's kiss. But she can't. Or can she? And if she does, should she try to intervene or change what she sees? So, as you can gather, it's got that magical realism that we absolutely love from Carrie Fletcher. That's been kind of like the central theme of all her books so far, where she injects that magical realism into her stories. And yeah, this was an easy read. There were some things in it that just felt a bit like tokenism though. But she's got a character in there that's trans, that appears in one scene almost as if to prove a point and then completely disappears afterwards. Share your thoughts on the trans character in this book and what you think Carrie was trying to do with that. Because yeah, to me it just came across a little bit exploitative. There was a good message behind it, but the fact that you never saw that character again afterwards just left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. I'd say that a big part of this story is miscommunication between everybody involved. So for Lorelei, the only person she has ever told her secret is her best friend, who she lives with. And that secret was forced out of her. So Lorelei, yeah, so she's a young woman who has been living with this burden for a very, very long time. The first time she kissed somebody was when she was 13, and she saw these horrible images that she didn't know what to deal with. And then that kind of put her off kissing anybody for a very long time. And then she kissed somebody else when she was a bit older, 17, 18. And again, she sees images that she doesn't know what they are. Later, she finds out that both the people that she kissed died in the same way that she visualised when she kissed them. And that puts her off relationships pretty much for life. She's there going, okay, maybe relationships aren't for me, I'll put up this barrier. It's a common theme through Carrie Fletcher's books, women in particular who put up barriers to protect them from the outside world, which then have to be chipped down by the love interest. And when she meets Grayson through a club that she creates at the cinema, because she's a writer and she likes to write screenplays from books that she has read, she's there going, somebody needs to turn these books into films, and so she writes the screenplays, but she never sends them anywhere. So it's her hobby, but she's never taken it that seriously. Lorelei's best friend, Joni, is the only person who knows the secret. The only one that's managed to kind of get that secret out of her. Whenever she's come close to talking to anybody else about the secret, she clams up and she just can't do it. There have been times when she tries to tell her mother and her grandmother, but then she decided that they weren't interested. Like, I'll admit, because of something that happens like in the third act, it's kind of like put into three acts. You've got the beginning, the messy middle and the happy ending. That is literally how they are labelled in the book. I could kind of see what was coming a little bit in the third act, just because of the way her mother communicated with her when she was younger, when she was going through everything. And I was just there thinking, those recollections of those conversations with her mother, does this mean what I think it means? Does her mother know more than is implied? The only other person that Lorelei tells, and I say tells loosely because it was written in a letter, was her grandmother while she was on her deathbed. So Lorelei believes that her grandmother never got the letter. Comes back round again, I'll tell you that. a letter to the grandmother comes back round again, so pay attention. The love story between Lorelai and Grayson is sweet, but at the same time, there were times when I wanted to slap Lorelai in the face and say, get a grip, which Joni does actually do in the third act, and that was a point when it was just like, oh thank God, at least somebody did it. Because it was stuff that Lorelai needed to hear by that point, because she keeps pushing people away. Just when she's ready to open up, she literally runs away from Grayson. They have a moment when they're on like a date type thing where Lorelai has said, I don't want this to be a date, I've decided, you know, I don't want a relationship and I just want to be friends with you. But they have a moment on a little brunch. Yeah, they have this moment where it seems like they're about to kiss, and after initially leaning in, Lorelai kind of opens her eyes and literally runs away from him. The amount of second chances that Grayson gives Lorelai is ridiculous, and when it comes to the point where she like chases him half across the world, you're just like, he's going to think she's a stalker, and he's just going to like, he should run screaming for the hills with the way that she's been behaving. Because I feel like in this book, the point is, even though you feel for Lorelai because of her visions when she kisses people, and it's obvious that it's traumatising for her because she gets nightmares, they seem to be getting worse around the time that she meets Grayson, which is a little part of the storyline, but I'm not going to tell you that because it might spoil some things. But yeah, her nightmares get worse, and she lots of like bones breaking and death. It all seems to be connected to the visions that she has when she has an attraction to somebody. And yeah, even though you feel for Lorelai, at the same time, you kind of hate her. She's quite unlikable, despite having some sympathy for her. I feel like the voice of reason in this book is Joni. Joni is the one who's telling her, wake up, why are you doing that, why are you doing this? It's like, there's a friend, I say friend loosely, from the cinema who is very down on his luck, he's a bit lazy, and living with his parents, and is set to take over ownership of the cinema because his dad owns it. And he's just one of those characters that's just like, it's kind of like the idea of he lives in his dad's basement, he feels like he's entitled to stuff when he's not. And there's a point when he kisses Lorelai without permission, basically. He gets this idea that like she's flirting and hitting on him when really she's just being nice, and so he plants one on her. And obviously at first Lorelai's completely shocked by this, and then because there's two kisses, well actually that's the bit that got a little bit confusing actually, because it sounded like there were two kisses, two separate kisses, but then when Lorelai explains what happened to Joni, she said that it was one kiss with two visions in it. And it goes from her seeing him die in a self-inflicted way to it changing into him having quite a long life and dying kind of pretty much of old age. And so when Lorelai explained that situation, I was just like, wait, but the way it was written, it seemed like it was supposed to be two separate kisses. Why is she acting like it was just one kiss with a split in the middle of the vision? Yeah, that kind of confused me a little bit. So after that, even though she has just obviously been assaulted, there comes a point when her and Joni suddenly start talking about like, oh, but that kiss gave him hope and that's why the vision changed. And you're just like, this seems a really dodgy way to explain the fact that he essentially assaulted Lorelai. And it's just like, no matter how much you spin it, he assaulted her. He got on top of her and he made out with her, and she did not want it. By the way, if any of this is like a trigger for you, no need to read the book, you don't have to, do your own research. The worst thing when it comes to assault in this book is when Lorelai's co-worker kisses her without consent. But yeah, after going through that whole thing of I didn't consent to that kiss and having that conversation with him, they then go into, oh, but it gave him hope and that's why the vision changed, you know, he went from being completely downtrodden and into this like realm of just self-infliction to I thought that somebody was attracted to me and that's given me some hope type thing. I think in a way I understand that like when it comes to stuff like that, it's not completely black and white. Did he just completely just misread the whole situation? It's that thin line of just like, he's a friend and she's kind of friend zoning him, but he hasn't quite got the message. But it does put that question in your mind as you're reading it of just thinking, why does it sound like they are defending his actions here? because he is painted as a bit of a baddie in the beginning of the book. It's like they've got a tolerance for him, but at the same time they don't like him. It reminds me of a friendship I had once, actually. Where you have a tolerance for them and you try to be civil, but ultimately you're not really friends. But yeah, when it comes to Lorelei's secret and the fact that it's only Joni that's been able to get this secret out of them, and when you look at the conversation she had with her parents when she was younger, when she did start to have like the nightmares and stuff, and the way that her mother talks to her and says, is there anything you want to talk about, honey, and come to me when you're ready type situation, Lorelei interprets that as her mother not pushing far enough. She's going, oh well, she's not pushing me that hard to open up, therefore I shouldn't. There are times when you kind of just want to kind of shake her and say, wake up, wake up, wake up, but at the same time she's in this pit of despair where these nightmares have completely taken over her life. It's kind of like a, yeah, damned if you do and damned if you don't type situation, because there does come a point when she starts to kind of think about what the secret actually means to her, because as it says in the blurb, it's that whole thing of, does she seal their fight by kissing them, or is it just something that she sees and that she has the power to change? And there is somebody she kisses on a night out where she sees him dying in a bike accident, pretty much as he is right in front of her. And she goes, what can I do to stop him from dying on his bike? I know, let's go let the air out of his tyres or something so that he can't get home on his bike. And then Joni goes and just steals the bike. And it works. She kisses him again and she realises, oh, I've completely changed this person's life by stealing the bike, essentially. Well, it's Joni that stole the bike, but by seeing that vision, seeing him dying in a bike accident, and then taking the bike away from him, she has changed what's going to happen. And there comes a conversation later with another character who shares the visions that she has. She's not the only one. And they say, like, well, there's no rules here. We've never been told any rules for this, so if we see something and we can do something about it, why shouldn't we be able to do it? Which is why when it comes to the point when she kisses Grayson and she realises how he's going to die, she actually starts to think about how she doesn't want anything to happen to him. And she's just like, yeah, this looks like it's going to happen soon. And it comes to that point where at first she's there going like, oh, there's nothing I can do, there's nothing I can do. There's like a 2-week period in the book where she does not look at her phone, and it drove me mad because you can hear the messages being left for her and the message that Grayson leaves for her saying like, I'm going away. And it was just like, girl, your vision is about to come true and you have no idea because you have not been looking at your phone for the past 2 weeks because you've just been in this hole of just miserable desperation. But you need to check on your friends more, because this is the point where she's just pushing everybody away and you're just like, girl, you've been friends with Joni since you were at university, college, and you're pushing her away. You can tell I had thoughts about this book. But yeah, I feel like I've been going on for ages. Carrie Fletcher, With This Kiss. Comedy, magical realism, that love story. If you do have an Amazon Prime account, you can get the Kindle edition for $5.99, but according to this, you can get the audiobook for free, which I wanted to read it because I listened to a couple of audiobooks recently and it was just like, I just want to read it. I just want to read it because sometimes on the two audiobooks it just doesn't go in properly. I feel like I need to read the words. It's got a storyline that does keep you vested in it, and the fact that you've got a main character that isn't the most likeable and it's more of a side character that is essentially the reader in the story. The person looking over everything and going, what the hell are you doing? Slap. That's Joni. Joni is that person who looks at everything and goes, why? Why? Wake up! Yeah. With This Kiss, Carrie Fletcher. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow with another Vlogmas video. Stay safe. I hope you're enjoying the festive period. Happy holidays.